Hello everyone, this is Tim, and I'm going to respond to the weekly topic. What is my favorite genre, or what are your favorite genres? And I think for me, it's mixing genres. I don't know if that's kind of a cop-out or not, but I like settings that have, a mixture of variety of different genres. I've intentionally mixed things with like basic role-playing, like some sort of generic system to incorporate elements of different genres. But if you really put my feet in the fire and ask me what my favorite genre is, I'm guessing it is horror, but it's almost like horror to me. And I'm really bad at pronouncing that word. I don't know if it's my Western Pennsylvania pronunciation of things, but horror. I can't do it. But the reason I picked that one probably is because I add it to everything. I incorporate, horrific events and tragic things and difficult subject matter sometimes, which, tends to be what horror is all about. The themes of helplessness and the unwinnable situation and we're doomed and, all kinds of things like that, in hindsight might not be everyone's cup of tea. It might not be what they want out of a epic fantasy campaign, as an example. I also tend to run things on the lower power curve of things, and I think horror is better at that, or at least that's the assumption, that you're like everyday people and you don't have all kinds of special abilities and powers to help you out of situations. You got to do the best you can with what you have. So that sort of gritty element tends to find its way into a lot of my campaigns. But I kind of look at horror as like a condiment. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but would I really like ketchup, but would I just straight up drink a bottle of ketchup? No. And that's just I seem to sprinkle it on everything, but it's not the main course. So it seems like horror is added to fantasy, is added to sword and sorcery, is added to sci-fi campaigns that I've run. Namely through creepy and horrific and intense kind of alien species, running out of air, being in confined and claustrophobic type situations. That sort of edge of that, I guess. And that's the kind of things that come into my games. I tend to like a lot of weird, surreal stuff. And I don't know I guess that kind of fits in with horror, but that's probably more fantasy. Dreams and nightmares have a tendency to, find their way into every single campaign or one-shot that I run. Maybe not one-shots, but if it's a long-standing campaign, I'm probably going to have some sort of dream sequence at some point. And I like to try to get everybody involved for those. I assign different NPC roles to the players to be part of one person's dream, and those have been some of the best experiences I think I've had at the table. They're so much fun because you can do anything. The limits of even a fantasy setting are just thrown out the window, and things can change into metaphorical ideas, and it's a lot of fun to run a dream sequence. If you've never done that, I would give it a shot. And what's cool about that in my mind is that dreams can work their way into anything. Oh, I hate that cuckoo clock with a passion. It's in all my videos. And this little cat guy over here, where's he at? Right there. People like him, even though he's kind of creepy. He doesn't work anymore, but he's up there. So yeah, I'd say horror is my favorite, but I don't know. The closest I've probably run to a straight horror game is Hunter the Reckoning or Vampire the Masquerade, and even those, there's something about the modern element that has a little bit of I don't know, superpower-ish, Batman kind of vibe to him. At least it doesn't in Vampire I've seen. Hunter's a little bit more gritty, and I'd say that's probably it's kind of the same thing as Call of Cthulhu, where you have meatbag characters that can't really take that many hits before they go down, and they have to work in unison, and have to be organized and do their research. So those games have a lot in common. So yeah, my answer is probably horror, but I like fantasy, but I just like to add horror to everything. Fantasy, sci-fi, yeah. All right, that's my answer. I'll talk to you guys later.